is Elijah Barganier, 230029ST. Can I get your appearance?
Good morning, Your Honor. Omar Shasha on behalf of the people, PA 6332.
Good morning, Your Honor. For the record, Sterling Coleman on behalf of Elijah Barganier, P 43321.
Mikey is on behalf of probation.
Ms. Boland, can I get your appearance?
Carrie Boylan, appearing for Suzanne Jenkins, the victim.
Okay, so we're here today. We received a motion that you filed, Ms. Boland, regarding a motion to revoke defendant's bond. And I did have a chance to review that. It was also reviewed by defense counsel and the prosecutor. Mr. Shajra, can you tell me, did you or your officer in charge do anything with respect to this allegation?
That is correct, Judge. We did. Judge, at the prior proceeding, when there was a plea in place, I was contacted by the complaining witness's wife. She indicated to me that she received a phone call after the proceedings. We took that number, provided it to the OIC. He cross-referenced that number with the defendant's number to try to figure out whether or not there was a nexus or a connection between the number and the defendant. He indicated to me after his investigation that there was not.
And counsel, Mr. Coleman, I'm sorry, did you have anything you wanted to put on the record with respect to this?
I do, Judge, and this is very different. I am concerned that a civil lawyer with no standing before this court would file a motion to capture and serve me without having. First, I think it's proper, and I have no problem coming before the court. Of course, Mr. Barganier did not do what was alleged to have done. Contact the decedent's wife. He hasn't done it. Even from the very beginning, he was sympathetic to what happened. He didn't leave the scene. He attempted to help out in whatever manner. Having said all that, it is the prosecution that litigates these kinds of matters before the court in a criminal setting.
No, I reviewed the court rule. And the court rule indicates that it's a motion of a party. Of course, we understand in criminal law, the parties aren't necessarily Ms. Jenkins, the party would be the people. The people have indicated, Ms. Boland and Ms. Jenkins, that they don't have evidence, and they would have the burden in this hearing to show by a preponderance of the evidence that the violation occurred. And the prosecutors indicated on record that they do not believe they can meet their burden, and that the officer assigned to the case has indicated to the contrary, that he could find no correlation between these two phone numbers. So I can't have, this is serious. It really is. And Ms. Jenkins lost her husband. I mean, that this is not a light matter. There's nothing, in my opinion, more serious at a district court than a case like this. I do exams on serious felonies, but they go downtown and they have their day in court and their trial down there. At a district court level, a civil infraction resulting in death is literally the only time that a district court really deals with a case of this nature. So I want to impress upon everybody how serious I take this. And I don't know what happened, but I know that I'm limited by the court rules on who's considered a party, and who is bears the burden on this, and the burden rests on the people. And if the people are not proceeding on a bond violation, then there is no bond violation. But I want to just make the record clear on a few things. We're going to set a sentencing date today. I know that the pre-sentence interview has occurred, so that happened today as well. But
I don't think it was
Pre-sentencing interview, we're actually going to complete that following this.
okay, so the pre-sentence interview is going to happen today. So we're going to pick a date for sentencing. And we're gonna do that now. And I anticipate that Ms. Jenkins, you, as I told you last time, you have a right to be present. You have and you can appear in person or on Zoom, whatever you're more comfortable with, and you have a right to make a statement to the court prior to sentencing. And I do think that your thoughts matter. So I encourage you to do that. Let's find a date. And Ms. Maudlin, I just want to make sure we have some time for this.
Hey, Judge, the other thing is, can I just put on the record very briefly?
Can you wait until the end and let me handle this?
But I do want to, okay.
All
Thank you.
right, no, go ahead, Mr. Coleman, go ahead.
For purposes of any future litigation, counsel for the plaintiff, I will not be accepting service. I will not be accepting service on behalf of Mr. Barker. I do not involve myself in civil litigation. Please don't attempt to serve me, and otherwise create more of a problem than is necessary. I will not be accepting service in any civil matter regarding what may come before the court on behalf of Mr. Barker. Thank you.
I'd like to be heard, Your Honor.
You can be heard. Go ahead, ma'am.
I was a former attorney for Wayne County. I represented the prosecutor's office in civil suits. I have the utmost respect for the prosecutor's office, Tim Worthy and Omar in this case. I also was a police officer and an accident reconstructionist, and I have the utmost respect for the officers that were involved in this incident and investigating this crash. But with that said, I have to say that I am extremely disappointed, not only with the charges, and that issue will be addressed at sentencing, but with the police and the prosecutors' complete lack of diligence in pursuing the connection between the phone calls that came in to Ms. Jenkins immediately after the last appearance in court. Your Honor, there's no other individual that has a motive to threaten her to keep her mouth shut, bitch, than Elijah Bargenier. If he didn't make the call himself, he encouraged it, he ratified it, and he condoned it, and he is responsible for it. My client is so
Yeah, we
afraid.
don't need any commentary.
Oh, Your
No
Honor,
commentary.
I understand.
No,
I
not you,
filed the
ma'am.
motion because the prosecutor's office did not. The police department did not even create a threats report. They didn't investigate it. It took me 10 minutes to establish an online public records connection between Mr. Bargenier and the cell phone that the call came in from. So with that being said, Your Honor, I will remain silent and wait for the sentencing date. And I will address more at sentencing, including asking for the maximum punishment allowed by law.
Okay, all right, listen. I'm gonna be clear on this, and I'm talking to Mr. Bargenier. You wanna scoot over a little bit? Who's this behind you in the coat? Who's that? Is that his mother? All right, you're not helping. You're not helping this. Someone died. Cases like this are full of emotion, but someone died because of this. And he's pled responsible to that. Okay, so I have an expectation that everybody in this courtroom is going to be respectful. You don't have to like arguments. You don't have to like what people say, but hold it in, because that's what we do in courtrooms. Mr. Bargenier.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna make this crystal clear to you. Who's behind you? Your mother, your father, and who?
Girlfriend.
What's your girlfriend's name?
Sorry.
What is it?
Sorry.
I want to make this very clear. You are to have no contact. And I'm not saying you did. You're not found guilty, right, of this violation, but I want to be clear to you. This is a court of law and things are going to be handled appropriately. The complaining witness who lost her husband has a right to speak at sentencing. And she has a right to be heard, and she will be heard. And nobody should try in any way to interfere with that. Just like you have a right to have due process in this court. right? Have I ever treated you unfairly? Have I ever been nasty with you? No, I've treated you with respect, haven't I? And everyone in this courtroom will be treated with respect. And that's how we're moving forward on this case. There will be no contact between the parties, period. And we're
Yes,
gonna,
Judge.
and we're gonna have a sentencing date of,
November 20th.
no, we haven't.
Oh, no. I'm sorry.
No. Can we do sooner than that? Maybe the 13th. What's November 13th look like?
I thought it was actually scheduled for November 13th, right?
That was the notice that we did receive. and-
Oh, you already received a notice for
Yeah.
sentencing on November 13th. Did you as well, Ms. Jenkins? Okay, remember when I was here, I told you last time that they'll send out the notice from downstairs. Well, they already sent out the notice, so, okay. Here I am trying
And
to
Judge, if I
do.
may, I would also like to respond to,
No.
Judge, with all due respect, Judge, I
Mr.
need.
No, Mr. Shadra, it's done. We're done. Nobody is making, listen, everyone got a chance to make a record. You indicated on the record that your officer looked into this phone number and attempted it. You've made your point clear. I'm not going back and forth. We're done. We are done today.
Judge, with all due respect, I need to respond to the allegations that were brought against me by the civil attorney.
There were no allegations against you though, Mr. Go ahead, go.
And with all due respect to this court, Judge, Ms. Boylan, if it's my understanding, has indicated that we didn't do our due diligence as it pertains to the alleged bond violation. Judge, immediately after the decedent's wife indicated to me that there was a phone call, I forwarded that email and provided her the number and provided the OIC the number to that. He cross-referenced these numbers to show or indicate whether or not there was a nexus between the defendant and that number. He indicated to me that there was not. And as it pertains to the charges, Judge, that's something that's a legislator's issue, Judge. This is a moving violation causing death. That's all that we had, that's all that was had here, and that's all that was charged by our office. So there wasn't any negligence or, as the attorney indicated, that we didn't do our due diligence as it pertains to this matter, Judge. These are incidents that we take very seriously.
Okay, all right. We're all
Could I
set.
say
I'll see
something?
everyone back. No, I cannot take any more. I'll see everyone back. I expect, listen, Ms. Jenkins, I'll see you back on the 13th. Mr. Barjanier, I'll see you back on the 13th. There will be no contact between the parties until that date. Do we know what time on November 13th? Because I don't see it. Oh, at 8:30 a.m. in person.
You want us here at 8:30?
Yeah, and Ms. Jenkins, you are free to appear in person or on Zoom, but you must be here in person, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, we're all set.
Thank you again, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.